Don't Wanna Die is called the You and Me song. Ben Mendelsohn, our guest this morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say.
Nice Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Boataji.
We were talking about defenestration.
We were talking about defenestration. We were. I got warned not to swear, and then we got onto the subject of defenestration, which for those of you, please.
No, please.
For those of you who don't know, defenestration means roughly to be thrown out of a window.
Now, and we were both commenting that if you do curse today, you'll be defenestrated. And if you were to be defenestrated, what a place to go from! Look at that view, Ben.
It really is something else.
I mean, if you're going to go.
Then this is it.
This is the place.
Really
and you're throwing out the window, and just one last F-bomb as you're heading down, just going, you told me not to say.
I would have time to get, I imagine, a lexicon of it.
They'd all go out. I mean, you bounced into the studio. It's funny. We had about 3 minutes, but we covered, I think, about most of 18th century navigation of fishing and books.
We did.
In a minute.
Did.
That was
I noticed
fast.
your Hampton sides, and I was like, where? And then you went, it's The Wager, and I went, of course, The Wager.
You were straight on it because I picked up this book. This is what I'm reading at the moment on my downtime. It's called Hampton Sides, the wide sea. Because I'd read The Wager, which is all about somebody described brilliantly as being a cross between Mutiny on the Bounty meets Robinson Crusoe meets Lord of the Flies.
Very much,
it's
right?
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's really, look, it's a cracker.
So you love, go on.
I do. I love non-fiction stuff, and I dropped out at school at 14. I started being an actor, so I have an endless interest in picking up stuff and trying to learn stuff. Yeah. And the audiobook makes it very very easy.
We've got lots to talk about regarding the new look and Apple TV Plus. We'll go there in a second. But as we're on a roll with the books, the audiobooks thing, you read for audiobooks, or you like to?
No, I listen.
You'd be great at doing them.
I do get that actor thing of like, damn it. I could have done. I mean, really, especially when they're Australian ones. There's an author called David Kilcullen who's actually he's a military strategist guy. And anytime I listen to one of his books, I'm like, come on, Dave, why don't you give us a call? Give me a call. Give us a call.
But you know you because I interviewed Thomas. How do you pronounce it in
Australia?
Keneally. Yeah. And he wrote Schindler's Ark.
The great Thomas Keneally.
And he came into the studio much like yourself, actually, twinkle in the eye. A really curious guy, and I said curious as in full of curiosity, as opposed to an oddball.
I understood.
You understood. I didn't need to explain that.
I got the
maybe
sense.
in case the listeners thought I was insulting you, as you're only in the door 10 minutes, and we go, "You're a curious fellow." Anyway, Thomas was one of those guys, and he was talking about Schindler's Ark, but also the other historical fiction that he writes about. And I got the sense, as he was talking, and the way you're talking, you'd be great at reading his audiobooks.
I would be delighted. I mean, I think I've heard there's an actress called Julia Whelan who I just think is fantastic. The last Cormac McCarthy novel, Cormac McCarthy, the great American recently passed author, wrote a book called The Passenger and Stella Maris. Stella Maris is kind of like the coda, and Julia Whelan reads the part of the sister. It's a brother and a sister, and her performance. I mean, the performance is like a good audiobook performance. Just changes it entirely.
It's funny, guys. I was watching it last night in the new look, and I was going, I didn't think we'd be going here today about the audiobooks, but anyway, that's for the next career move in your life, because your life is peppered with interesting twists and turns, isn't it? I mean, as you say, you left school at 14, but obviously with massively curious brain in the head. Do you kind of look back wistfully at saying, if I had stayed in school, gone to college? Is that you're nodding like that?
I do. But then again, like I've had a ludicrously fortunate and pretty full life, like a lot of time doing nothing at all and not working. But this last decade and a half has been amazing. Yeah, and I wouldn't, you wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it.
It's a nice way to be, isn't it? That you can say for a full life. I think if you're heading towards a certain vintage, and
absolutely,
you couldn't say that. It'd be very frustrating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think it is. But I still want to. I have a hankering to go and do a classics course at one of the universities. We're in London at the moment.
Ancient Rome? Is that what you mean? Ancient classics or classic literature?
Yeah, more the old. Yes, more ancient Rome, ancient Greek stuff.
Great.
Because classics used to be taught in school,
As a given.
everywhere,
Yeah.
and until really my time, and then it got dropped. And I just think it's something that I'd just like to know a bit more about.
I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes, but
Please.
I want to get straight into the new look. And this is a really, really interesting time period, and the cleverness of the twist to put fashion into World War II, because World War II has been seen from so many angles.
Yeah.
This one I didn't know.
No.
I mean, the fact it's called the new look just is a bonus. Talk to me all about it. The elevator pitch, if you will.
Okay, so you're talking about Coco Chanel and Christian Dior in World War II occupied Paris. Now, they both approach their life and their maneuvers, what they have to do, from very different ways. They both end up being controversial.
Yeah.
Christian, who I play, is the guy who I love more than anyone I've ever played. Right. I love Christian Dior. And I knew nothing about him and had no feeling towards him whatsoever. But this is the birth of modern fashion. This is survival in occupied France. And it's awesome. I love it. It's I made a show called Bloodline many years back, which I think is probably one of the most successful characters I've ever played.
An award-winning role.
All that hoo-ha.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And it's the same creator. And we've made the new look, and it's on Apple TV Plus. And
you're proud of it.
I am,
and you should be.
I am. I'm a bit. I'm a bit of a. I get a bit. Anyway, I am very proud of it.
You must have Irish in you, the way you're talking about.
Well, I'm Australian, so you know
there's
how
a bit
it
of
is.
everything going on.
I've got a
We're not
full
very
Australian mongrel.
but you went into full Irish. We're going, it's okay. I just paid €5. It's fine.
You know how it is. It's
I know.
Like, it's the thing, and you really feel it when you hear it. It's either a certain strata of society here, or it's Irish, or it's here, it's there. But you don't. You kick the goal. You don't talk about.
I know,
the goal.
but
you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's such a good, glorious way of putting it. But if a Scandinavian person or somebody else came in and they're going, yes, I was excellent. I'm looking at you with a dead eye. Go, yes, I was excellent. I deserved every award.
And look, and then there's a certain, you have to learn to translate this. If you're going to work and occupy in America, that's the most difficult translation because they're quite comfortable with, talking about their achievements and this and that and the other. And it doesn't come easy to us.
I can see that. But let's go back to it because this, as you say, was one of your favorite roles, and I can see why. You embody it beautifully with great elegance, if I may say so.
Thank you, Colin.
And because it required that. I mean, you're talking about the high end of fashion in the world, and yet the complication of who puts the beautiful gowns on the Nazi wives.
Yes, indeed.
What a question.
Yeah, it's really they're faced. I mean, he's faced with some very difficult choices. His sister is a freedom fighter, and she is caught. She's caught by the Nazis, and she is taken east to a camp. And Christian is desperate to get her back. Now, Coco has gotten her nephew back out.
Yes.
So there is a way, inverted commas, and he's desperate to get her back. But yes, he doesn't want to have to go and put the dress on the Nazi wife, girlfriend, whatever. But there's no one else to do it. He works for a guy who really is the absolute sort of start of the whole haute couture, modern haute couture, that guy called Lucien Lelong, who hired all sorts of these, fantastic people. And there's no one else to do it. But fortunately for him, he does go and do it. But, there's a lot of criticism, after the war, there's a lot of controversy about that.
You're a reader, and you obviously love your history, and you're interested in the world. And I think that the French relationship with World War II is still up for discussion. Would you agree that the way especially collaboration, as they call it, and the Marshal Pétain's takeover of Vichy France, and the cooperation, deeply uncomfortable questions there.
It is when we were doing press in Paris, it was there was a decidedly different kind of question that was being asked, and I think, look, it's Paris is a city that is so enormously storied, that has had such highs, such lows, but martially, in a military sense, they did not have a good time between, really from the Franco-Prussian War to Vietnam.
Yeah.
It was not a good period,
Yeah.
largely speaking.
And funny enough, the new look does challenge a lot of that. I think that's with what do you do?
Yeah.
Faced with that situation, what do you do?
Yeah, because the heroics of that, and there's that saying, the banality of evil.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, heroics have a certain banality to them too. They're very normal people doing normal things, and banality is not the right word, but it's decent people doing what they can in a moment. And it can end up being very heroic.
Yeah, and it reminds me, as you're speaking of that documentary I was mentioning the other day, 20 Days in Mariupol, and you've probably seen it.
No, I haven't.
It won the Oscar for Best Documentary, but it's based in Ukraine. And somebody says in it, and it stayed with me, it's war. Good people get better, and bad people get worse.
Oh,
Isn't that good?
Yeah, no, that's a
tart expression.
Yeah.
But you're describing that. I'm only just
and I'm feeling it as you say it.
Yeah.
I've got the type of the
goosebump-y
capillary
moment.
reaction as described in Thomas's Man, the Magic Mountain.
Yeah,
anyway,
lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all over the shop.
We're doing
here.
a good tennis game today.
I'm enjoying it tremendously. If you are going to think about the classics, I know you mentioned that you're going to. What's the climbing thing you mentioned that you like to do?
There's a gym, there's a bouldering joint down here called the Font.
And you climb.
You boulder, and then if you fall off, you fall onto a mat.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean?
It's a metaphor for life.
It is indeed.
But the British Museum has about 3 floors of beautiful statues and ancient Rome and Greece there. If you can clear an hour or two for yourself. If you haven't been there already,
no, but I'm due for a go back there.
This will get the juices flowing for your academic requirements, because I think it's in you. You've got to do it.
No, I'm looking forwed to it actually, because I feel like it's a big gap.
It's time. What age group? I don't want to ask.
Oh no, I'm solidly mid-50. I mean, you can Google it. And
no, I know. I didn't want to. Put you on the spot.
There's a band in Australia called Old 55, and that's me.
I mean, they're looking great on it, but you've got so much time left to pursue that interest. I look forward to talking to you in the middle of your studies in the next year or two, and come back and we'll talk about
I look forward to it.
Fenestration.
I've had a ball.
Yeah, same here.
Without any defenestration thus far occurring.
Well, we're not finished yet. But unfortunately, you're a bigger man than I am physically, and I'm sure in every way. Ben Mendelsohn, what a pleasure it has been to see you today. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for
Much obliged. The new look is on TV now, Apple TV Plus. That's where you get it. Ben playing the part of Christian Dior, and that's a program you will not want to miss. It covers so much, whether it's haute couture and World War II and France and all the questions that go with it. Thanks, Ben. Lovely to see you.